Tonight in the Bay, it feels like this team is quietly changing its own story. There's a historic connection heating up in the red zone, a possible surgical move on the market that could transform the pass rush, a brutally honest conversation about the future of one of the most talented receivers on the roster, and a comeback performance from the quarterback that says a lot more than just "I'm healthy." This isn't just another day of Niners news, faithful. Let's start with something that doesn't just show up in the box score, but in the history of this franchise. You know that feeling when the ball leaves your quarterback's hand and you already stand up because you know what's coming? That's what we saw again in Glendale. Only this time it wasn't just another touchdown. It was the type of game that locks a duo into the story of the 49ers for good. Brock Purdy finished the 41-22 win over the Cardinals with what looks like a normal stat line. 19 of 26 passing, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 133.5 passer rating, clean and efficient. But 2 of those touchdowns went to George Kittle, and that changed everything. With those scores, the Purdy-Kittle connection reached 23 touchdown passes, moving past Steve Young and Brent Jones into second place all-time among quarterback-tight end duos in franchise history. The only pair still ahead, Alex Smith and Vernon Davis with 30. There's another piece of history in there. One of those touchdowns was Kittle's 50th in the NFL. He became just the third player in 49ers history with at least 500 catches and 50 touchdowns, joining Terrell Owens and Jerry Rice, 2 legendary wide receivers, and now a 5th-round pick at tight end who forced his way into that company with effort, personality, and big game performances. The crazy part is remembering where all this started. The first Purdy to Kittle touchdown didn't come on a random red zone slant. It came back in 2022, Week 15 against the Seahawks, on the Hollywood concept, play action sold perfectly, Purdy ripping the ball downfield, Kittle wide open, and the defense completely lost. That play was the spark. What we're seeing now is the explosion. Right now, 7 touchdowns separate Purdy and Kittle from the top of that list. With the offense finding rhythm again, does anyone really think that number is out of reach this season? Imagine Levi's Stadium in a playoff push, Purdy drops back, hits Kittle in the end zone, and everyone in red and gold realizes they just watched a record fall. That's the kind of moment that turns a connection into a legend. While a lot of people are focused only on wide receivers and running backs, there's another storyline quietly building that might be just as important: the pass rush behind Nick Bosa. And this one starts far from Santa Clara, in Baltimore, where the Ravens just parked a very interesting name on their practice squad. Baltimore signed veteran edge rusher Carl Lawson to the practice squad, a player with 32 career sacks, experience in multiple defensive schemes, and a reputation for wrecking drives on third down. He's already been a problem in Cincinnati, produced for the Jets, and in 2024, still generated pressure and sacks with the Cowboys before hitting free agency and now landing with the Ravens. This is not a project. This is a ready-made pass rusher. And here's the question that just keeps echoing. How is a player like that sitting on a practice squad while the 49ers, with Bosa out for the season, clearly need more juice on the edge? The rule is simple. Any team can sign Lawson off Baltimore's practice squad as long as he goes straight to the 53-man roster. No trade, no draft pick, no crazy negotiation. It's a test of mentality. Do you attack or do you watch someone else in the NFC make the move first? On the field, the fit is obvious. The biggest quiet headache on this roster today is pass rush depth. In January, you don't want your best rusher playing almost every snap. You need rotation, you need fresh legs coming in wide, running stunts, forcing the quarterback to speed up his reads. That's exactly what Lawson offers, a pressure specialist you can unleash in sub-packages focused on clear passing downs without asking him to be the star of the line. And then there's the message a move like that would send. Imagine the notification on your phone. The 49ers execute a surgical strike, steal Carl Lawson from the Ravens practice squad, and bring him in as a playoff weapon inside the locker room that says the front office sees the same weakness the fan base has been pointing out. Across the NFC, it says San Francisco is not sitting back hoping for miracles. It's hunting value franchises that wait for the perfect time, usually watch somebody else lift the trophy. The teams that really want a Super Bowl go after hidden value when it appears. If you're still with me, take a second to drop a like, share this with another 49ers fan who lives this team like you do, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next twist in this season. There's also a kind of news that doesn't just land, it hangs over everything. That's where Brandon Aiyuk comes in. Once again, Kyle Shanahan told reporters he's not opening the practice window for the wide receiver this week. When you add that to everything we've heard from beat writers and from John Lynch, the tension around Aiyuk's future stops being just a fan reaction and starts sounding like a real organizational dilemma. Aiyuk is more than a year removed from that brutal knee injury, the torn ACL and MCL from October 2024. Every quiet week feeds the same uncomfortable question. Will we see him in a 49ers uniform again, or have we already watched his last snap without realizing it? Matt Maiocco from NBC Sports Bay Area didn't treat that as crazy talk. He gave it space in his mailbag and connected it directly to what Lynch has been saying. The general manager has used a phrase more than once: no absolutes. When you hear that about a player trying to return, it doesn't sound like unconditional belief. If the front office was fully committed to Aiyuk being a key piece here for years, the tone would be much more firm. Instead, the comments have been open-ended, cautious, always leaving the possibility that he doesn't come back this season or as the same player he was. On the field, the reality is simple. The offense just scored 41 on Arizona without him. With Purdy back in rhythm, Kittle in full takeover mode, Christian McCaffrey doing what he always does, and second-year wideout Ricky Pearsall emerging fast, the unit looks dangerous and balanced. That doesn't mean Aiyuk suddenly became expendable. It means that right now his return is a luxury, not a requirement to function. The real storm, though, isn't about the next few weeks. It's about the next few years. Aiyuk signed a massive 4-year, $120 million extension before the 2024 season. That contract helped drive a wave of cost-cutting moves, including the trade that sent Deebo Samuel to Washington. The message back then was clear. Hard decisions would be made to keep the core intact. Now the question is whether Aiyuk is still part of that core. If the 49ers decide he might not return at 100% or that he no longer fits as a cornerstone in how this offense has evolved, would they really consider moving him in the next cycle? Maiocco didn't say the team is shopping him, but he also didn't close that door. He basically said anything is possible. And anything is possible is a scary sentence when you're talking about a player this talented and this expensive. It's hard for any fan to accept the idea that Aiyuk might have taken his last snap in red and gold without a proper goodbye in front of the faithful, but right now, that's on the table. At the very least, it changes how we talk about this offense long term. It's not just about when he comes back, it's about whether his future is really here. And while all that swirls in the background, the most symbolic storyline of the week came from the most pressured position in the sport. Quarterback. What Brock Purdy did against the Cardinals wasn't just a solid stat line. It felt like a statement that this team can still trust him to steer the ship, even after a rough stretch and a frustrating injury. Purdy had been dealing with turf toe since week 1, the kind of thing that messes with your base, your mechanics, and your confidence. He missed weeks, watched from the sideline, and saw Mac Jones step in and play well. That's the kind of situation that feeds endless debate shows and social media threads. Instead of complaining, Purdy went to the tape. He studied his own film, went back over the past seasons, and used the time off to figure out exactly what kind of quarterback he wants to be when he's on the field. In Glendale, the answer showed up fast. Before he even threw a pass, the Niners were up 7-0 thanks to a 98-yard kickoff return by Sky Moore and a 1-yard touchdown run from McCaffrey. That took some pressure off, but it didn't change the reality that everyone was watching his first real drive back. On the first big third down, he found Jawan Jennings like a veteran who hadn't missed a beat. 2 snaps later, he looked left, held the safety just long enough, and then dropped a perfect ball between the safety and the corner for a 30-yard touchdown to Kittle. You didn't need a sound bite to understand what that throw meant. His body language said it all. After the game, Purdy admitted that drive gave him back the rhythm he'd been searching for. He also made something else very clear. Even with the big second contract, even with injuries around him, even with people asking if he needs to do more, he doesn't want to play hero ball. He said he doesn't want to be Superman. He wants to be efficient, to run Kyle Shanahan's system at a high level and let the talent around him shine with him, not because he's forcing something that isn't there physically. He came out of the game saying he didn't think about his toe once while he was playing. You could see it. The mobility was back. The off-schedule plays reappeared. The timing throws looked sharp. The 41-22 score felt comfortable because the quarterback executed like someone in full command. And through the whole process, he stayed locked in every meeting around Mac Jones and Adrian Martinez, who's now back on the practice squad, keeping that quarterback room connected. Maybe that's the real headline behind all the noise. Purdy didn't come back trying to reinvent himself. He came back trying to be the best version of who he already is. And when Brock Purdy plays like Brock Purdy, the ceiling on this team changes. After everything we've just walked through, it's clear the 49ers are in one of those stretches where every detail matters. The historic connection between Purdy and Kittle shows the offense is rediscovering its identity. The possibility of a surgical move for a pass rusher like Carl Lawson shows the front office knows exactly where it needs help. The delicate situation around Brandon Aiyuk forces tough conversations about health, contracts, and long-term planning. And Purdy's performance in his return is a reminder that the most important position on the field is still in steady hands. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these storylines hit you the hardest as a 49ers fan? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this video with someone from the Niner gang, and make sure you're subscribed so we can ride out the rest of this season together, one twist at a time.